Good YouTube, it's your boy Shabazz.
Natty Baps.
We the
Bro.
BaptisteBros. Last prediction video of the season. Super Bowl 58. Chiefs. 49ers. Sunday at 6:30. A little sore still, a little bit. It should be the Ravens and 49ers. Should be Ravens Lions. I'm not gonna lie.
For
You
sure.
know, cue the Yu-Gi-Oh meme. It should have been me, not him. But I think, I keep on saying it. God don't make mistakes. So for me, Lamar gonna get his. Lamar's gonna get one.
So
not this year though.
I've seen some stuff on Twitter's TikTok. If you're into conspiracies and stuff, it's like, oh, the Patriots back in 2011 went to their like 4 Super Bowl in 5 years type shit. Who ended up beating them? Like it's a whole like the pieces. If you believe in that shit, like the stars aligning type shit.
You know what I'm saying?
I don't know.
But it's also like the Taylor Swift thing because 13 is like 49 is 4 plus 9, 13. It's the third team game that Taylor Swift will be at. 5 plus 8 Super Bowl 58, 13. It's like freaking flight from Tokyo to Vegas is 13 hours. I'm like, bro, that's so. People were like going way too extreme with this Taylor Swift beat, but I'm like, it's alright. I'm like, as a pure football fan, I'm excited for the game. Non-biased, like, oh, the Chiefs beat my team and like it should be us. But like, take that aside, like 2 good teams duking it out, like for 3 hours, like with an Usher halftime performance, which I'm looking forward to. Hey man, let's stop all the BS, man. Let's talk about who's the. I'm sorry for the crying babies, but who's the X factor for you for the Chiefs, naturally?
All right, my 2 X factors are quite simple. Probably other than Mahomes, in my opinion, because Travis Kelce gonna get his. He's one of the best playoff performers ever, regardless of like the only person he's chasing is Jerry Rice for yards. Other than that, he beat him in receptions, beat him in touchdowns, and all that stuff. So he's chasing ghosts. Mahomes is Mahomes. I have his jersey. I ain't gonna wear the jersey all that extra. My X factors are Isaiah Pacheco, who I've been a fan of since like week 1. I've been like even since last year, but mainly week 1. I'm like, yeah, this dude Pacheco, he nice for real. Also drafted him on fantasy team. Didn't get last place because of him. You feel me? And then on the defensive side, I got Chris Jones. So why I say those 2 guys is quite simple. The Niners, I said it 2 weeks ago. I said it 3 weeks ago. I said it weeks and weeks. They can't stop the run, especially when you run at them with the aggression. Detroit, for all intents and purposes, should have just kept running the fucking ball. If they would have ran the ball, they would have ran them out the building. And it was 21-7, like a blink of an eye, because they can't stop the run. Same situation with Kansas City. Kansas City can throw the ball because they have the greatest quarterback that we've ever seen. But they want to run. They want to play keep away. They want to keep their defense fresh as hell and have a guy who runs like the Tasmanian devil. Like, he's going to run through that defense like knife through butter. It's going to be awesome. But, like, not a hot knife through butter, knife through butter. It's going to be like, But, yeah, he runs like 5 yards a carry. I'm expecting a monster game from him. And for Chris Jones, they say the same thing is true for every quarterback. Pressure, especially up in the middle. They're not from the sides, but from up the pocket, so the quarterback cannot step up. Chris Jones, if it wasn't for like Aaron Donald, right, would be recognized as probably the best interior defensive lineman. Obviously, and been a bit. I can't say his name because I know it's not my guy, but he made second team All Pro. But Chris Jones made first team All Pro. So it was one of those things like he's been him. Chris Jones been him. He's looking for his contract probably next year. That's a whole separate story for the Chiefs for next year. But for this game, that offensive line for the Niners is great. Do not get me wrong. But I think that they need to be able to protect the middle of it. And Chris Jones is going to be the guy that has to stop CMC from going bananas. Hard thing to do, of course, but in terms of slowing down Brock Purdy, pressure up in the middle, pressure up in the face, and make Brock Purdy have to hesitate just that 1 second, because that secondary for Kansas City is legit. So I got Chris Jones and Pacheco as my two X factors.
One thing before I talk about my X factors for the game with Chris Jones, I was really talking about this to my UPS guy. You can legit Trent Williams, Hall of Famer, one of the best left tackles ever. Not even of this generation, ever. Right? He's in Canton. Like his bust is already like engraved. It's just a matter of the date. Besides him, that offensive line is a bunch of B to C plus players. Like they're very bad. Like the game that puts it to perspective the most was Baltimore. When you were able to put pressure on Purdy through the offensive line, abusing everything, and you couldn't run the ball with McCaffrey. Like when you had him force Purdy to make mistakes or make quick decisions, he was making those mistakes. This is the time of game that Chris Jones, he's going to be a game wrecker. So I completely agree. To deviate from, because I couldn't pick the same person, obviously, I chose the Chiefs' offensive line. Nick Bosa already threw the freaking the white glove in your face. He was like, they hold a lot. How do you?
And they do.
And they definitely do. I can attest to that. They definitely hold a lot. They do a lot of the extra stuff, a lot, and they don't get called for it. How do they respond? Creed Humphrey is one of the best centers in the game. So besides him, they might have the I think left guard that was out against the Ravens.
Toonie? No, I think he might not play.
He might not play. Oof, that's
like
tough.
He's up in the air. It's like undecided. We don't know.
But besides that, and then Jawan Taylor, the freaking full-star magnet. Like you're literally facing Nick Bosa. Like you're the guy. Are you gonna hesitate? Are you gonna be too aggressive and freaking kill all the momentum the Chiefs are gonna have in those drives, pivotal drives? Because in the Super Bowl, playoff game, every drive matters for sure. But in the Super Bowl, every play matters. Because every play could be the difference between blowing a team out or just narrowly winning. Like one prime example from last year was Nick Bolton with that fumble recovery. If he had just like recovered the fumble and just was end up being down, who knows what happens after that? Momentum in the Super Bowl goes by like this. Cam Newton fumble. If he had went for the ball, it could be a totally different story. But then the Seahawks the Broncos just railroaded them because of that one mistake. So one play, if people say, "Oh, one play doesn't," bro, in the Super Bowl, you could point damn near every single Super Bowl. One play made a difference.
Hey, 14 years ago, Saints won their Super Bowl. What the defining play? There's two that come to mind. The onside kick starts second half. If that doesn't go right, cool. Because it's 10-6 at halftime. They get the ball to start the second half. They can go down 17. It would be 17-6. It's like, holy shit, yep. And the Saints have to come back and win. But then they get the ball, onside kick, and the rest is history. Then Tracy Porter pick 6, right? So the Colts are driving. Tracy Porter doesn't pick that off. Who knows what happens? So again, you're absolutely right. One play, two plays. If things bounce a different way, who knows? History is rewritten. So
the offensive line has a tall task. Even with like Chase Young, who like he's good, but the main guy is Nick Bosa. Like if you going to have to double that man and if he starts doing this, his little shoulder shrug like he's MJ and he get hot and get fired, bro. It's a different ball game. It is a different ball game. Trust. So,
hey, it was a valid picks, man. So we got the Chiefs. We talked about the Chiefs. Obviously, Mahomes like going for 3, trying to catch Brady 7. Right? I didn't make a banner for this, but I'm making one real quick. Before we talk about the Niners, do you think that Mahomes can become the GOAT? Or do you think he's already like, what does this Super Bowl mean for Mahomes? Like, you've heard the pundits say it for the last couple of weeks what it means, but what do you think it means for Mahomes?
I think no matter what he does, he won't be recognized as the GOAT. Kind of like a LeBron thing. But a lot of people like they think Jordan's the GOAT because he went 6 for 6. Brady went, I think, 7 for 9, 7 for 10.
7 for 10.
He lost to Eli twice and then Philly. And he beat Mahomes in the Super Bowl. So no matter what Mahomes does, they'll always say, "Oh, but Brady got 7 and he beat you." Stats. My boy Elko was a good game. Mahomes, for me, best and great. I always make the decision: best and greatest. Tom Brady is the greatest because of what he's accomplished. For me, Peyton Manning was the best I ever seen. I think if Mahomes wins the chip, he's the best I've ever seen, but he won't be the greatest.
Mm.
So that change that G to a B because he'll be the best of all time. Talent, but I guess he was born a little too early. He's already in the Mount Rushmore.
For
No
sure.
matter no matter what he does, like it'll be Manning, Brady, Mahomes, Montana. No matter what he does, he's in the top 4 ever. If he retired today, he has a statue in Kansas City, and his jersey retired, and he's a Hall of Famer, first ballot. But
Yep.
I don't think he could ever be the GOAT because, well, he actually might, and here's why. After I say this, I'll have you the floor. Give you the floor. A lot of the people that's talking in sports media are a lot older in the tooth. So the next generation is knowing they knew of Brady's they know of Brady's greatness, of course. They know of his greatness. They've seen the greatness, but they're living in the Mahomes experience. These are the little kids now with the Mahomes jerseys. They saw the twilight of Brady, but they're seeing the ascension of Mahomes. And when they get older, and they'll be the ones on TV, they'll be the ones talking about it. And plus, Nick Wright is like 30 something. I think he's like the same age as LeBron, so he'll be around to to glorify Mahomes. So the people on sports media, they'll be the ones really pushing that narrative that Mahomes is really the GOAT.
Mm.
Kind of like a LeBron thing. Like you still got the old heads saying like there's Jordan, but you have a lot of the young cats now saying that oh LeBron's really that guy.
For sure. For sure. Well said. I think I totally agree. Change the G to a B. He's definitely, in my opinion, already the best player, like best quarterback I've ever seen. And of course, I've watched Drew Brees. Like that was my guy. I've always thought Brees was strictly better than Brady. But of course, more accomplished, the greatness, all that stuff becomes attached when the team sports comes in, right? So that's when, like, I always say Drew Brees is my GOAT, right? My personal GOAT. But of course, when you objectively, you have to say Brady, because if you don't say Brady, then it's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Your opinion is no longer valid. So for me, Mahomes would be like, he has a chance to become a universally recognized GOAT. But again, like you had mentioned the perfect part about this is his time now, and we're watching his ascension to greatness. Even though people already say he's the best player they've ever seen, Nick Wright, Chris Broussard, like all that good stuff. Like what's known though has to be said. And if he wins this weekend, he'll be 3 for 4, and the only loss is to Brady. That's something that like a lot of people say, freak it, retire off that. Boom, you're 2-time MVP, 2-time, probably 3-time Super Bowl MVP. You're already in the Mount Rushmore. You do nothing else, you are solidified as top 4. But of course, as a competitor, you want to keep winning and keep winning. So
If
I
he
don't
wins this
mind.
one, he's better than Manning. If he gets this one, he's better than Manning.
Oh, of course, right. And the only people he's chasing is Montana with 4, Bradshaw with 4, and then Brady with 7. Those are the only three people he's chasing in terms of that. But no one says Terry Bradshaw's the GOAT or even he's top 15, I guess. No one says he's top 10. But I just wanted to hear your thoughts on that. But because Mahomes, I will talk about our final predictions soon. But for now let's take to the other side. Talk about the Niners.
Mm.
What's your X factor? What are two players you think have to show up in order to provide a chance for the Niners to win? Because of course everyone's gonna say Brock Purdy has to show up and all that good stuff. Trying to think outside the box here. Think outside the box.
Well, outside the box. I say Treverius Ward and Nick Bosa. George Kittle was definitely in that. I might switch out the Nick Bosa part for the George Kittle because actually I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna call it audible real quick.
No audible. Okay.
Audible. Treverius Ward for sure though, and I'll explain why in like 1 second. All right. So Treverius Ward, because he played on the Chiefs, he won a chip with the Chiefs, and he went. It's kind of like a Dion thing, where he won the ring with the Cowboys and he won the ring with the Niners, or however way it went. I think it went vice versa. Yeah, he won the ring with the Niners, then he went to the Cowboys and won the ring there. But it's kind of like that, where he was talking already, like, oh yeah, it's way better over on this side. So you talking hot like that, you gotta show up. And who better to show up against than Kelsey, Mahomes, Pacheco? Who better than to validate what you're saying, to validate yourself? You gambled on yourself and you went on another team where you could have stayed chip and you could have stayed the course, stayed on the team. But you was like, nah, I want my bread. I want my, because he's never gonna get the respect he deserved. I think he got all pro. I think he got votes, but I don't think he got all pro. He got pro votes, some all pro votes, but he didn't get the. But like, yo, you validating yourself. Now do it in the biggest game. Do it in this game where everything counts. And George Kittle, on it, he said it. There's a video that surfaced when he lost the chip and he finally got back to the Super Bowl. He was like, I will be back here. He's like, this is not the last time you're gonna see me. It's extremely hard to go to a Super Bowl. It's extremely harder to get to two. And you could say Brock Purdy and Jimmy G. They're in the same tier of quarterback, the same type of quarterback model. But I think Kittle I think he's gonna have a game of like people are gonna like look back and be like, yo, George Kittle really did this in the Super Bowl. Yes. I think he has potential to be Super Bowl MVP. I'm saying it like that. He probably won't. He'll probably go to McCaffrey. If they win, is for sure. And like the freaking Mahomes, and freaking Purdy like throws like a pick, and barely does anything. But McCaffrey got two of them things, 80-something yards and two of them things. McCaffrey, that's easy MVP. And yeah, so I think Kittle and Treverius Ward got to step up. Obviously, everyone has to step up. Ayuk, who I've been high on. But for my personal validation, Ayuk got to hold it down for the kid. So I can hold out over Natural's head for at least a year. For at least a year, I can hold out over Natural's head. I called Brandon Ayuk's ascension, and he was like, he's not better than Debo. Like, he's better. He's a better pure wide receiver than Debo. Absolutely. But yeah, that's two of my X factors. Obviously, you got a whole bunch, but those two, like, they have to really like step in, especially George Kittle in the blocking aspect as well, because he might be a sign of a blocking, like do a little like shed blocks on Chris Jones if he's on like the edges or whatever. So hold it down.
I don't mind those at all, man. You did your thing. You know your Niners. Me, I'm gonna pick Debo. For my personal validation, I need kind of another game. You feel me? Now, in all seriousness, I think that because we've talked about it, and I definitely tip my cap to you. Called it before the season started. I think Debo is one of the most unique players the game has ever seen. How like he's a smaller Taysom Hill. Taysom Hill runs like with aggression, but Debo like when he has the ball in his hands, it's crib worthy. Like it's like when Devin Hester had a punt return, and it's like what's gonna happen when he has the ball in his hands? And they try their best every single, whether it's wheel routes, whether it's end arounds, whether it's a quick wide receiver screen. Anytime Debo has the ball in his hands, it's amazing. And quick note as well, you said the blocking aspect with George Kittle. All of the Niners receivers are like fantastic blockers. Like all of them do not care about getting touches because they know if we put out film of us blocking, we're gonna get recognized in play calls. Like no one takes a play off. They're the antithesis to the Chiefs. The Chiefs' receiving core is buns. The Niners, they block for everybody. They celebrate with everybody. They catch everything. They had a couple costly drops in the first half against Detroit, but then in the second half they started actually catching things and making plays happen. So I think that Debo, although he's not the wide receiver that Ayuk is, he's the playmaker that they need. He's the
Yeah.
guy that jumpstarts that offense. Yeah, of course, you could throw deep shots at Ayuk and have something flick play happen, like hit the ball in a face mask, and then all of a sudden he catches it for a 60-yard gain. But in terms of like that, you need a guy to get 10 yards real quick dump off, and he falls forward. Debo's the guy. For me, I had the same X factor with the Lions game that I have now. Chase Young. Dude, you trying to get paid? You trying to get this extra incentives of you are immortalized in history as a Super Bowl champion? You gotta help your boy Nick Bosa out because they know Nick Bosa is gonna show up. You know he's gonna get one of them Jordan shrugs, and you know he is. I'm not worried about Nick Bosa. I'm not worried about Fred Warner, Eric Armstead. I'm not worried about anybody else except for Chase Young. He has not produced at all. He's had a few flash plays. I think against the Jags, he recovered a fumble. Like he did a strep sack fumble recovery as well. Like he's had some key flashes, but nothing consistent. Nothing has been the same all the time. Like we know Nick Bosa is a guarantee. We know Fred Warner is a guarantee. They're gonna make Mahomes' life a living hell on Sunday. But Chase Young provides some assistance, help slow down Pacheco, help slow down Jerick McKinnon, who's coming back from injury, like help slow down the running backs and make Mahomes a little bit hesitant. A little bit. Your secondary is not the greatest. Tre'Davious Ward is great, but ever since they lost Hufanga, it's been a little bit on a decline. Hence why they probably can't stop the run as well. Help with the run protection. Help with the gap assignments and so et cetera, et cetera. Man, so I'm excited for the Super Bowl, of course. And I have, again, we don't have to talk about every aspect of, oh, what about this player versus this player? That's not what we do. We try to keep it short in terms, especially for Super Bowl. Who wins Sunday? Who wins the big shebang? Shabazz.
I
I
think the
know.
Niners, man.
Word?
Yeah, man. I think the Niners win. I think the Niners, not obviously they're flawed. Everyone is flawed. Both teams are extremely flawed. But not even the biased part of me, but it's like I like people getting there first. I think this win for the Niners, if it comes to pass, would mean a lot of things to a lot of people. Versus just the third ring sounds insane. Like, yo, getting 3 rings, like you are like elite. But the only surefire Hall of Famers that's just already there is Mahomes and Kelsey. It's hard for a running back to make the Hall of Fame.
Mm.
It's hard. So Pacheco getting 2 rings, okay, cool. Being key callers in that machine, great. But like we live in a day where like Fred Taylor is not in the Hall of Fame. We live in those kinds of days, and it's hard. You have to be all pros and recognized as one of the best of your era. Right? So that's not Pacheco, unfortunately. Fan of his, but it's not. Chris Jones with 2 rings, he enters a different conversation. Depending on how the rest of his career goes, because he's still young. So depending on the rest of his career goes, he could be looking at a gold jacket. No one else on the Chiefs really can say gold jacket guys. Because they're either too young or whatever. haven't really proved like got like the recognition from the media or whatever.
Mm.
49ers though, Brock Purdy gets paid handsomely. If not by San Fran, by somebody. Nick Bosa, he becomes he got a defense player of the year, multiple All Pros, a Super Bowl ring. That's Von Miller territory. If Von Miller's a Hall of Famer, people gonna have that conversation like, hey, if he's a Hall of Famer, then Nick Bosa should be a Hall of Famer. Fred Warner, Hall of Famer. Patrick Willis is and Luke Kuechly are Hall of Famers level with a ring with multiple first team All Pros. Fred Warner gets in that conversation. McCaffrey gets into the Hall of Fame with a ring. And that's the one. Kittle as well. But my main thing is for McCaffrey. Because if he's proving to be the best back of this era. When he got drafted, I think in 2017, because it was like a bunch of them. It was him, Kamara, mad people, mad heads, Leonard Fournette, like, but the ones constant, a couple offensive players. He already got, I think, offensive player of the year. No, he didn't. He got robbed. I think that was the year Michael Thomas had like 100-something catches.
He broke the reception record. What do you mean?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Right. I give him, but he has 4-team All Pros with a ring, and more than likely the Super Bowl MVP. If Terrell Davis is in the hall,
he got 2 of them thugs. So.
He got 2 of them things, but not the longevity part, not the All Pro part. But he got 2 of them things, and was like, I think he has an MVP, Super Bowl MVP.
Yeah, 2 of them things. I think he has 2
Super Bowl MVPs.
I think John Elway got 1. No, I'm pretty sure TD has 2.
I know he got 1. I know he got 2 rings, but I know he got 1 of the MVPs though. I think John got 1 and he got the other. Look it up, naturally. Thank you.
Looking it up now.
But regardless, I think McCaffrey, if he gets this ring, he's epitomized as the best back of this era.
He's got 1. When they beat the Packers, he had 150 yards rushing that game. Yeah, he was wilding.
He was wilding. It was before our time. We was born, but we wasn't really like he was out the womb.
Yeah, she also rushed for 2,000 yards that year too. So he won league MVP and Super Bowl MVP. It's crazy.
Oh, never mind. McCaffrey, he ain't winning no MVP. He might actually. The honors is tomorrow,
right? Think so. Yeah.
What's either Saturday?
One of those.
But regardless, I think McCaffrey, Kittle, Warner, Bosa, those 4 get in that conversation of gold jacket guys. And then you got a guy like Purdy. Debo, I don't think he'll make it to the Hall of Fame. But he'll be Hall of Very Good. There'll be stories about him like, this man was really like Debo from Friday. And then Purdy would get paid handsomely. If not by San Fran, by somebody else. Because they'll be trapped in the mirage of like, oh, we could take this guy and he'll elevate us. But reality, my manager asked me today, am I pro Purdy? I was like, it's not being pro or against Purdy. It's the media. The media is split on them. So that's the discourse. You either are a quarterback apologist like Dan Orlovsky because he played quarterback and he's on every quarterback side and you're discrediting Purdy, or you're a hater on him like Shannon Sharp or Ryan Clark because you're getting carried by a great team. But I'm not faulting him for that. He was the last pick of the draft. He got unfortunately injuries are a part of the game, so he climbed the depth chart because of injuries. He was the last guy, but he climbed it up because freaking Jimmy went out, Trey went out, and then he's like, "I bet I'm here." He making the best of the situation.
For sure.
So I'm not faulting it for it. Like it's not his fault. He's not messing it up. He's not crumbling under the pressure. He's not making a lot of mistakes. He's made some mistakes, sure. Against the Vikings, against the Bengals, against Baltimore, against the Browns. But like, hey, he it happens. But hey man, last pick of the draft, starting in the Super Bowl. Hey man, like what? Kurt Warner won a Super Bowl ring, undrafted. So it's like, dude, like it doesn't matter. Now people gonna try to elevate him as like he's top 5. Like, nah, I can't put him there.
And that right there is the issue. So I don't mean to cut you. I apologize. I so sorry. My thing with Brock Purdy. Before we talk about who wins on Sunday, let's get this Purdy. We got to talk about Purdy conversation. We have to have the conversation. And I had a dinner with my mentor yesterday about. He asked, "Hey, what do you think about Brock Purdy?" And it's not that I dislike him. I dislike. It's two extremes. And it's not even about QB apologist or a hater. It's he's not good because he was a 7th round pick, or he's the next Joe Montana. And that's where I have an issue. Because yes, he's not he is in between that. He was a 7th round pick, that is true, but he's shown way more than that. He's shown that he is a quality starter in the league. He's better, I would say, than 15 guys right now, off the top of my head, that if the Niners said, hey, Brock Purdy's for sale, they would trade for him to see what they got. Because again, but then at the same time, to say he's Drew Brees, to say he's Joe Montana, you're naming Pantheon guys, bruh. And that's where I have an issue. People are overhyping him and saying he's this. Let him be Brock Purdy. That's what it is. Yes. Is he and Cam Newton gets a lot of slack for what he said, but not because what he said is because of the guy who's saying it. I haven't played. I can say the same thing. He is the 10th best player on the Niners. Two things can be true. Without him, the Niners would just get another regular quarterback and see what happens. But they have him, and he's performed well in his role. He threw for over 4,000 yards. He had like 30-something touchdowns. He didn't have a lot of interceptions. Great. He took care of the ball, and he did his role. He got the ball to the playmakers that he needed to. No shame in that. But to elevate him to top 10 status, to MVP status, when you see Lamar Jackson physically and literally carrying his team, when you have Patrick Mahomes having no receiving core and still winning games, you have Josh Allen running over dudes, you have Joe Burrow, Joe Cool getting to a Super Bowl on a bad offensive line. If you put Brock Purdy in different situations, he is not going to elevate that team.
Brandy, what's good, gang?
He's not elevating. What's up, Brandy? He's not elevating them. He's not a Drew Brees. He's not a Joe Montana. He needs a perfect system around him to be great. And there's no shame in that. He's better than what people thought. Great. He is playing within himself. He's playing excellent ball. And I think that he will make some wild plays on Sunday. He'll make some throws like, oh, that was a pretty good throw. I ain't gonna lie. He'll be like, oh, that was a pretty good throw. Whew. But at the same time, people gonna try to tell he's like this guy. He's not better than Mahomes. He's not better than Jackson. He's not better than Jared Goff. There's guys that he's not better than. But people try to they go too much and go too far when they're trying to give him credit. And that's what I have the issue with. That's what I have the problem with. Yes, he's better than the 7th round pick that we thought he was last year. But no way was he the MVP of his team.
Right.
That's Christian McCaffrey. There's no way he's the MVP of the league. That's Lamar Jackson. So that's what I have a problem with national media hyping him up to say, oh, the Niners are good because of him. No, They got to a Super Bowl with Jimmy G. They got to one, and we're up 10. So yeah, he's not the next guy. Because we're not gonna have this argument now because we have to talk about who's gonna win from my side.
But before you even do that, I'm gonna name you names. I'm chalking it down. You said Mahomes, no. Lamar, no. Allen.
Stroud, Allen, Burrow.
Okay.
This is a straight AFC. Okay, so those 5. Trevor Lawrence.
Okay.
Let me think. Justin Herbert.
Okay.
Tua. Debatable.
That's debatable.
I'll put him down. So that's 7 right there.
Yeah.
Okay. Then on the NFC, Dak.
Yep.
Jalen Hurts.
Yep.
Jared Goff.
Debatable, but I give it to you.
What's debatable about it?
I think. Oh yeah, for sure.
That's 11.
It's 11.
So bottom half.
You can even say 10. You can even say 10, 11.
11.
And then
that's cool.
People talk about these like 5, and that's where we probably agree. Like, relax. Like, let the boy finish his second year, first full year starting. Let him finish it.
Right. Let him finish his story. Let him finish his story. Can he be the next Drew Brees or the next? Maybe. Let him focus on being the perfect Brock Purdy.
Yeah. So who wins? So who wins?
Who wins, man? I got Kansas City, man.
Oh.
I got Kansas City. And I remember when we watched our thing last year. We watched a recap show of who would the AFC West? And we was like, maybe the Chargers get them. And he's like, we got to see it to believe it. We are reaching a time where it's like, bro, we got to see Mahomes lose. Because the only person that's beat him is either Joe Burrow in the playoffs. Only people that's beat him, Joe Burrow or Tom Brady. That's it. Nobody else. And even when this Niners team that they have now had guys on the 2019 team as well. So, hey, the Niners are a fantastic story. They're a great team. Shabazz mentioned all the guys that we would love to see get rings. And I would hate for most of them to not get a ring. I'm a fan of Christian McCaffrey. I love George Kittle. Debo, I love those guys. I love the Niners and what they got going on. And I love Brock Purdy's story. As much crap as I just said about his, he's not this guy. I love his story. I love everything about the Niners. They built it the right way. They built through the draft, and they made it happen. So did Kansas City. And as much as people say, oh, I hate Taylor Swift and all that stuff, no, I don't hate Taylor Swift at all. I would say at the very end of the show to talk about the Taylor Swift stuff again, because I have more thoughts about it. My overall concern is in the fourth quarter, if they're down 10, who do you trust? Mahomes or Purdy? Down 10. He just got, what's his name? Kyle Shanahan just got his second win ever, trailing in the second half. First win against the Packers, trailing by more than 10 points in the fourth quarter. He just got his first win ever. He was like 0-30. So I think it's going to come down to Mahomes, Kelsey, Rashee Rice, and Pacheco. Those 4 are going to go up and down this Niners defense. Now, of course, is it disrespectful and sacrilegious to say that, the Niners don't have a good defense? Because they do have a good defense. But an underrated story that people haven't mentioned, and you've mentioned last week, 2 weeks ago, the Chiefs' defense is legit. Even after the Ravens lost, you was like, damn, there's something I did not expect. And you said the Chiefs' defense held it down. There's going to be moments where Mahomes and that offense go stagnant in the second half. It's gonna be moments because that's been their MO all year, looking broken or whatever. But they're gonna come to play. They have to get a first down. They have to get a big play. And all of a sudden, a deep shot to MVS or a deep shot to Rashee Rice or a 20-yard run by Pacheco. It's going to come down to that kind of situation. And to put it simply, I got to see it to believe it. I got to see Mahomes lose in order to believe he can lose. And is that just blind faith in Mahomes? Yeah, that is. I got blind faith.
And Reed.
And Andy and Travis Kelce and Pacheco. I have blind faith in these guys because guess what? They did it last year. I know, boo me, I suck. I'm going against the chalk, whatever. I know, I'm a hater of the Niners, but also I'm the NFC. Fuck the Niners, bro. Like, bro, screw the Niners, bro. Like, yeah, okay, yes. As a fans, cool, whatever. I know it's kind of weird. I'm going for the AFC. You're going for the NFC, which is kind of weird.
But I switched. So like last year, we both went for the Chiefs, and I was like, I said the same thing you're saying now. I was like, bro, like at the end of the day, I trust Mahomes and Reed. Oh, like over 99% of people. Feel me? This year, I think it's a little disdain from it should be us.
It should have been me, not him.
You know, I think that's the main thing going it. But honestly, I'm putting no money down in this game. Like I'm not. Like I'm no. Like no. If I get a free bet, sure. Like yeah, I'll do a little something. But nah, I'm good, man. I'm good.
I haven't made any bets on this game yet, except for the Chiefs money line. But that's like, but what prop wise, I haven't looked at FanDuel or anything. Pacheco anytime, CMC anytime, and both of their scrimmage yards overs. Like I might parlay all of that and see what happens. Matter of fact,
we're gonna do straights.
Oh no, of course we're gonna do each straight. But I'm gonna go on FanDuel. I haven't been on FanDuel all week, so give me a second. But last thing, two more things for the show. It's one of our last shows live. One of our last live shows. We have a few more. Like we have things and after the season, we can talk about teams, what they need to get in the draft and free agency, and how to get better so they can get to the Super Bowl potentially. That's videos that are gonna come out. We're gonna make them. It's gonna be awesome. But two more things. Firstly, we gotta talk about Taylor Swift. We gotta talk. We had to have the Mahomes conversation. We had to have the Purdy conversation. Now we have to have the Taylor Swift conversation again. So, a friend of mine, a coworker of mine, she asked me, "How do I feel about Taylor Swift?" Because she's like, she likes Taylor Swift, but it's not like she's not a big fan of it. Like not like, oh my God, it's Taylor Swift. She genuinely asked for my opinion. And what I said was, it's twofold. One, I do not hate Taylor Swift. I do not mind. Huh?
You told her this, or you texted her this?
No, we had a good conversation about it.
Okay.
I was like, I don't hate Taylor at all. In fact, I think that the NFL is smart. They're business first. Like that's what they are. That's what they do. They try to finesse. They try to get all the views and all the views they can. Did you hear? Apparently, before I continue, apparently Roger Goodell is like, oh, we're expecting like 200 million people to watch the Super Bowl, which is like that would like shatter records, which not necessarily out of the realm of possibility because it's expanding to Brazil. Shout out to Brazil. Where with Taylor Swift, I don't hate the coverage because she's only went on the screen for 25 seconds. My issue is twofold. First, it's anytime the Chiefs do something good, regardless if it's Travis Kelce or not. That's my issue. That's where my concern lies because, like, yo, if it's Kelce scoring, I got no problem with it, big dog. Go show off. Do what you got to do. But then if Pacheco scores, they're showing Taylor. If Noah Gray scores, they're showing Taylor. That's what I have a concern with. That's what I have a problem with. Because, yeah, she's here to support her boyfriend. Cool. I got you. But don't make it any random Chief, because she's not a Chiefs fan. She's a Travis Kelce fan. That's the issue. And the second thing I have, and is on the other side, is on the guy's perspective. I don't like how men are saying Taylor Swift ruined football.
Nah.
I hate that. Because one, wouldn't you want your girl to want to watch sports with you? Like, wouldn't you want? This is like the perfect opportunity to teach her football. And she voluntarily asked, hey, hey, is this the game that Taylor Swift's on? Oh, hey, can I watch it with you? She wants to spend time with you doing something that you love, which is watching football. Yeah, she might ask you questions about what the freak just happened or how did it, whatever happens, but this is a time to like bond. Let her now. She wants to watch football. Let's go to a game. Let's do this. Like, this is a perfect opportunity for men to integrate women into the game that they love. This is a perfect opportunity for that. And yet men, men meet. We gotta have men only. No women. Like, bro, that's exactly what they say like. That's exactly what they say like, bro. That's exactly what they sound like. Ayos and cavemen. Bro, this is a perfect chance for you to bond with daughters, with your wife. I heard a story once. This girl asked her dad, hey, can I watch the game with you? Because Taylor Swift watches it. Whatever the reason, she's watching the game with you. She voluntarily asked Pops to watch the game. He damn near shed a tear. Like,
I saw some shit. It was some kid. She like ever since Taylor was like she like looked like was researching all about football and like she's like watching the games and like, oh, you gotta do this here, like whatever, like formations and all that. I was just like,
bro,
that's amazing.
So
that's amazing.
I was like, bro, like, you gotta like give it, let her cook. Let Taylor cook. So that's why I hate the discourse on both sides. Oh, I hate Taylor Swift getting so much coverage. I don't like that she's getting so much. But NFL is a business, like any businesses. If you have a market that you're trying to get into, use the market, use the press. And last thing, Taylor Swift can't control that she's gonna be on TV. Yes, she knows that she's probably one of the most famous people ever, but she doesn't say, "Hey, put me on camera now." That's what I used to work in media. I used to do that. I used to be a camera guy in the stands for Notre Dame football. If anytime a famous person was there, we were alerted, yo, Bon Jovi's in the crowd. Oh, like we would put them on the Jumbotron. Because that's what generates happiness for fans. Like, duh. So that's my 2 cents. I don't hate the Taylor Swift thing. I think it's a little bit blown out of proportion. I just wish that they cut it back to only when Travis Kelce does something good and not just the Chiefs. That's my issue. Just make it Travis Kelce, not the whole Chiefs. Then it's perfect for me.
How do I feel about Taylor? I'm trying to watch what I say just in case this happens to get clipped somewhere and we get canceled. So much dislikes on it, on some WWE like Roman Reigns and Rock shit. But I don't mind it. You know, my girl said you were spitting, by the way, like
You feel me?
about their like the relationships and stuff like that, like how like women are like getting into football, like men want them to, you know. But my girl watch it, not really. That's not really her vibe. She likes like the Gordon Ramsay cooking shows and stuff. Like that's her vibe. Like I love that. I gotta watch that with her. Like it's lit. She's definitely watching the Super Bowl. We're going to her grandparents' house to watch it, so like it's lit. But how I feel about Taylor though, I think I think you're absolutely right. I think the business, like everything, which and there's a theory. There is a theory out there though that it was supposed to be like Ravens Niners, but Taylor Swift was so like overwhelmingly popular that we got to have her in the Super Bowl. So the sacrificial lamb had to be Baltimore. Which, if that's actually true, you know, it sucks for my team. But I think if they're actually together, like for the long haul, like we're talking about marriage and stuff like that, then we only got this for a couple more years because Kelsey's eventually gonna retire. Right? Like, you feel me? Like, but my biggest gripe with it, the whole Taylor Swift thing, is the hypothetical of if the Chiefs win, right? And Kelsey and Swift have like a big kiss thing, and fucking Travis Kelsey pops a ring on it and proposes to Taylor Swift after winning the Super Bowl. That would just be like insane. That would just be the most insane thing ever. That will be on clips for the rest of life, bro. And I saw a little bit of the Grammys. It's not her fault, but like it also is very annoying. So I do see where the cavemen like get at, where it's like, damn, you showing this girl again, yo? Because at the Grammys, freaking, I remember Miley Cyrus was singing her song that she won her first Grammy on, and they kept panning to Taylor every time they could. I'm just like, damn, girl. Like, she's singing and she's having a vibe, and yet we're only worried about her and not Miley Cyrus. So, like, she has conquerors hockey. I'm going to put it in One Piece terms. She got immense conquerors hockey, but she can't control it. She can't. It's just like Shanks. It just goes everywhere. It just like knocks everybody out, kind of vibe. And it's just like, it's like freaking Lily, not Lily. Not Lily. Boa Hancock. You look at her, you get entranced. It's over. It's GG's. It's not her fault. She's so beautiful. She's so stunning. She's so amazing. You look at her and just like, boom. So I don't mind Taylor in the game. I don't mind it at all. She's a fan. She's a fan. She's bringing massive $300 million ever since she started watching Travis Kelsey at the stadium. That's a lot of money. So I don't fault the NFL for doing it. I don't fault her for just showing up for her man. But then it comes a time where it's like, all right, it's a little stale. Because Ciara is Russell Wilson's wife, not even girlfriend, whole wife, kids and all. They'll show her. They do like a. I feel like we had this conversation before.
They do celebrity role. Like, oh,
they do
cool.
celebrity role at the games. They had like Eminem there for the Lions. Like that's the ambassador. He's Detroit. He's literally the embodiment of Detroit. You got Ciara when he was in Seattle, and now when he's in Denver, and whatever team he might go to next. They'll show her with the babies. Cool, awesome, power couple vibe. The only I'm not saying Jay-Z and Beyonce should get divorced. I'm saying, but if Beyonce, I'm pretty sure if Beyonce was dating an NFL player, they would do the same thing to Beyonce that they're doing to Taylor Swift.
Absolutely.
Because they low key, they started to do it. The discourse was with Simone Biles, with her husband, on the Packers, the safety for the Packers, Jonathan Owens. That was more like a social media thing, though. But like, it's nuts. It's really nuts. But I don't mind it at all. But I'm done talking about Taylor Swift. I'm done.
All right.
So you said one more thing?
Yeah, one more thing. So first things first does like every year they do who has the most to gain, who has the least to gain for winning a Super Bowl, or most to lose rather. So most to gain, they pick 8 guys, they talk about it, and then they also do who has the most to lose. Shabazz has not seen this at all. So I kind of want to get his reaction to it. I want to see what he thinks, and then at the same time have our own little conversation, and then it'll be done. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
All right. Yeah, this is 8 most people, Niners, whatever, have the most to gain by winning the Super Bowl. Can I play, my man?
Other than Gatorade High School Player of the Year 2 times. He didn't win any state titles in football or track, even though he's playing in Colorado. Learned that on the Ringer, thanks to them. He got snubbed in the Heisman, in my opinion, for Derrick Henry. They never made the college football playoff, national championship, won a Rose Bowl. This could be his moment. Brew and I both think he's the most likely non-quarterback and maybe the most likely Niner to win Super Bowl MVP. So Christian McCaffrey. Number 7, the GMs, Brett Veach and John Lynch. Veach, post-Tyreek trade, trying to paint a masterpiece, going 2 for 2 in Super Bowls. Lynch surviving the Trey Lance debacle and still having not only viable quarterback play, but good quarterback play and maybe the most well-rounded 2 through 53 roster in the league, is the best GM in the world title belt.
You can't have GMs over players. No, I don't. Coaches, yes. Players, like, bro, Christian McCaffrey's way up there. I don't know who was up in the 1 through 6, whatever, but you can say the GMs are 8th because of what he said. But above McCaffrey, nah, above McCaffrey.
Atop Allegiant Stadium, maybe. Number 6, Travis Kelce. He would supersede the best tight end discussion and start to enter who are the best weapons in NFL history? Who are the best non-quarterback offensive players? You look at Travis Kelce's career compared to a Emmitt Smith, those types of things. And so that's what he does with this, and he's already on the very short list of all-time playoff performers. Number 5, Brock Purdy. It guarantees that he is the long-term starter. It vindicates his biggest supporters, and it might shut up his loudest critics. Number 4, Andy Reid joins Gibbs and Walsh as the only coaches with 3 Super Bowl rings. Belichick, of course, sitting atop with 6. Chuck Noll with 4. He also, catching Bill Belichick becomes possible. He's 44 regular season wins away. Right now, 6 playoff wins and would be just 3, I understand, Super Bowl wins away. And he would be only behind Bill Belichick already he is in Super Bowl appearances. No other coach has more than 5. Number 3, Kyle Shanahan. It vindicates everything about him, his approach, his entire tenure in San Francisco. It gets him, in my opinion, even with McVay, in the young coach power rankings, if you will, of Andy Reid and Belichick. Belichick now obviously out of the league. And to me, it erases a lot of the kind of scar tissue from 2019. Number 2, me. This one's obvious. We started the year with never a doubt. We never had a doubt, and I get to be the rightest man in sports media once again after a down 2023. Remember, Reuters called me the most accurate sports pundit 2022. Yeah. And number 1, of course, Patrick Mahomes. He ascends like Tiger in 2001 or Gretzky in 1984, where he is now only chasing ghosts and the record books, where he has also entered the discussion. He will clearly have had.
Marcus is a connoisseur.
You're muted. But thoughts? I read lips. It was valid. I think McCaffrey should be higher, but I understand the logic of, Purdy gets long-term starter. That's what I said. He gets a bag. Kyle Shanahan definitely gets vindicated for sure because he did a lot. It was a lot. The Trey Lance debacle was nuts, and but you gotta give him credit. He got a Super Bowl with Jimmy G, and almost won it.
But again, 28.
3-2 also, 28-3. Like gets that. Like it'll only be Dan Quinn and Matt Ryan having a downfall 28-3. Kyle Shanahan wins a ring, but separates himself from that forever. And Andy Reid, he's honestly like top 5 coach ever. It's not really up or down. Like he's already going to the hall. Like whenever he retires, like when he's done, it's all good, man. I thought Nick Wright always had to put himself in there because never a doubt. We all laughed. I laughed, and when they lost to the Lions week 1, I laughed because like you can't even go 1-0. It was crazy. But never a doubt was like the end goal of the Super Bowl, repeating as a champion. That's special. That's special. It rarely's been done. So
the last champion was the 04 Patriots.
Yeah. So you're in rare air with that. I like it. That was a good list.
All right, word. But show is over, ladies and gentlemen. One of the last live shows for the year. until what, August ish.
Yeah.
We'll figure that out.
Maybe a post draft, a little post draft vibe. We'll see,
We'll see. But definitely more off-season content on the way. We'll talk about what teams need to reach Super Bowl 59. And I think it's in Vegas. I know it's not Vegas.
NOLA.
In New Orleans. Yeah. So hey, who knows? Maybe it's the Saints hosting. You feel me? But again, that's Shabazz. I'm Natty Baps. Please like the video, subscribe if you're new, tell a friend to tell a friend. Live your life in faith, football, friends, food, and wait for it,
vindication.
And we'll see you Tuesday. 8:30 to recap hopefully an amazing Super Bowl.